Life Matters, a Penn Mutual podcast for financial professionals, bringing you life insurance insights from advanced sales experts and life insurance specialists. Grow a stronger practice today.
Welcome to Life Matters, a Penn Mutual podcast. I'm your host, Bill Bell, Vice President of Advanced Sales with Penn Mutual, and I'm so pleased that you chose to join us here today. Now, we have an interesting episode for you today. It's one that we've had on the calendar for quite a while and one that I've really been looking forward to. We have Caleb Guilliams, who is the founder of a firm called BetterWealth. He's going to be our guest here. Caleb is not only a very accomplished financial professional, but he is also an accomplished podcaster himself. And in fact, if you look at his BetterWealth channel on YouTube, he has over 30,000 subscribers. In fact, I think it's closer to 40 now, last time that I checked. Almost 40,000 people subscribe to his YouTube channel to listen to what he has to say about life insurance and life insurance planning. Those are unheard of numbers in our industry and something that we talked about quite a bit. So the conversation started as a discussion about the use of new age marketing techniques such as YouTube or social media platforms like LinkedIn, but it really evolved into a discussion about the why you want to be doing certain things. Caleb is a very aspirational and an inspirational guy, and he really kind of laid down why his firm has decided to do the things that they do to reach consumers and clients. But again, fascinating guy. I think you'll really enjoy it. So why don't we roll that interview that I did with Caleb, and I'll be back on to wrap it up at the end of the podcast. All right. Well, Caleb, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Life Matters, a Penn Mutual podcast. It is our honor to have you here today.
Bill, it is my honor to be on the Penn Mutual show. So thank you so much. And I'm just looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and diving in.
All right. Well, we got a lot to get to today. So let's set a little baseline here. Every great story has a beginning. How did you get into financial services? I mean, you're a very young guy and you've had a lot of success. So kind of how did that path start for you?
You want the short version, the medium version, or the long version?
You're the guest. You choose.
All right. I'll give you like a mix. Everyone picks the middle. So I grew up in central Wisconsin. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My dad was a PhD molecular biologist. My mom was a nurse, stayed home and homeschooled us. And I wanted to do biology until I took biology for the first time. And I was like, you know what? Don't think I inherited my dad's ability to think, research. I still to this day really don't know what he does. Just knew that wasn't going to be my path. I've always had a fascination with sports. I was always very competitive. I was always very into money. It was very fascinating to me. I would always ask how much does this cost? And it wasn't that I was being rude. It was I was very curious on how that worked. And make a long story short, was very short for my age. Was also to this day struggle with reading. So I have a form of whether you call it a disability or an advantage. I don't know. I just think different. I learn different than the average person. And I was very insecure about that growing up. And I remember one day I went to my mom, with tears in my eyes and being like, my younger sister's taller than me. I could barely read. I think I just embarrassed myself in front of people. And she just said, Caleb, the things that you can't control, don't worry about. But the things that you can control, like most things in our life, you should work harder than the average person. And right there, it's you might think that was a cold reality that my mom, put on me, but it was one of the greatest mental frameworks, because it was okay, the things that I can't control, i.e. my height, don't put my identity or worry in that. But actually most things in our life, our business, how we show up, what we do, the relationships that we have, the ability, our skill set, we have a control over a lot of things. And a lot of times we have a lot more control over the things in our life than maybe we want to admit. So fast forward, I work at a chicken farm and it was my first job. I process chickens. That's all I'll say for this show, because I don't want to offend anybody, but let's just say I have a huge appreciation for how the chicken sandwich is made. And so I'm learning that. I'm getting paid for the first time, real money. And again, this fascination with how money works is very interesting to me. And I read 2 books, Good to Great and The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's like one book is on leadership. What does a level 5 leader look like? And so I'm like 15 years old and I'm like, this is amazing. And another book is around how to think about money and how like I love The Richest Man in Babylon because it's through parables, very simplistic. It's not saying like invest in this thing. It's like literally like here are the stories and the principles on how anyone can become wealthy. And those two things were really big for me. And I just made a commitment to myself early on that I wanted to do everything I could to like be in the financial space and be a leader in that space. And then fast forward, I got a job at a bank when I was 17, and I was the bank teller that you had to take like a double take on. You're like, this kid does not look old enough to even be in a banking institution. There's a common theme here, by the way. And I learned a lot about how to interact with people. Worked in a lot of different departments. When I was 18, I got to work in our investment department as the investment assistant. And then when I was 19 years old, the person that was running our bank's investment department took another job, and they let the assistant, the kid that looks like he's 15 years old, take over the bank's investment department. And so at 19, I'm taking over this corner office, had no business being there. But the person that ran the bank, who's like a second father to me, said something very cliche. He's like, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I just, I just committed to like, I'm going to do everything I can to really care for the people that I'm serving, even though I was so unqualified. And then through that journey, I asked people to mentor me. And I had this mission statement which said to help people see and reach their highest potential. And I really believe that we're in a profession that if people understood how we could serve them, like we're literally in a profession that we can help people see and reach their highest potential. Like in the money space, it's one of the things that gets in people's way the most. And it's like, man, if we can free that up and we can understand money as a tool, like it's game over. And from there, I think people pitied me at first, but I just had I reached out to a ton of people. They mentored me, and I learned a ton about insurance. I became like this like love for life insurance, which is weird in itself. But I just realized that when set up and used properly, life insurance is one of the greatest assets that you can have at the foundation of your life. And I just really appreciated it, like in a really profound way when I started actually understanding it. And then I just also had this conviction that it's like, hey, I'm going to die someday. I'm 21 years old. I think I watched like a TED talk. I don't know what I was doing. And I was like, I'm going to die someday and I don't want to regret my life. And there's this thing I'm learning about insurance, and I need to get this out to more people, but I'm like at a bank, and right now, like I couldn't necessarily do a ton of marketing. And so I just decided early on that I was not going to let regret. Like I was never going to look back and be like, hey, I made that decision because of fear. Like I was going to live my life to avoid as much regret as possible. And I was just like, you know what, I need to start something. And so through that time, started the company that I have today. And it's been a 7-year journey since. So I'm under 30, but I'm no longer. I started when I was 21.
Wow.
And it's been a journey, and we've fumbled forward. We've learned a lot, but we have clients all over the country. We use the internet. We have a YouTube channel. I have a self-published book. I started in the podcasting space. I've spoken on stages, and so we've learned a lot, and we're continuing to learn, and we're having a blast at the same time. So that's the medium version. You're probably very glad that you didn't choose long. You know.
It was a fascinating story. In fact, we're going to be hitting on a lot of those topics that you've already touched on as we go through our interview here today. But there were 4 things that I really took away from there. One, I think that a lot of people that are listening right now are probably nodding their heads in some way, really kind of uh, understanding where you're coming from and having kind of similar shared experiences. I know that even myself, a different path, but a lot of the elements were similar in regards to kind of how I got to where I am today, in regards to kind of making sure that I was making the best choices for myself and pushing myself forward. Second is actually a question for you. Do you still eat chicken?
I love chicken. It's
Okay.
it's one of my favorite things to eat. So, yeah.
So working at the chicken farm did not dissuade you from actually eating chicken going forward. Third, those 2 books that you referenced, Good to Great and The Richest Man in Babylon, are 2 books that I read when I was in business school, getting my MBA. You read them when you were 15. What motivated you to specifically take that choice? Because Good to Great very inspiring, but it could be a little dry at times. And I don't think that your average 15-year-old is diving into that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great question. It's a great question. So I struggle with reading to this day. So why in the world am I reading Good to Great? Part of the thing that just frustrated me as a kid is like we had to like read, and then in school you're reading all these books that didn't interest me at all. And because I wasn't a great reader, I was reading these dumb books, like just dumb, but like I just hated it. And my dad is an executive of a company, and their leadership team was going through Good to Great. And he just mentioned it. He's just like, hey, this book is like a really good book on leadership. And I forced myself to read it. And I don't know if I don't think I have the copy, but I remember like it's so marked up because I had to reread things and I would like mark things up. And then I got introduced to CDs. And so I listened to a lot of books in the car. And so like that is really how I learned to this day is I can listen to things really quickly. And that's how I retain information. And so I for sure have listened to Good to Great, as well. But that's how that got started. And then I heard a gentleman speak on The Richest Man in Babylon, and I just loved his principles that he talked about. And that was the same thing. It was like I forced myself to read that book, and I also listened to it at the same time. And those were again the two books that got things started. But we could have a conversation all day long about the books that I read early on that shaped me to be the person I am. And I'm very, very grateful for the direct and indirect mentors that have helped me.
All right, we'll save some of that for the next time we have you on the podcast here. Last thing before we get on to the next actual question is you mentioned something and it really resonated to me. You said, I love life insurance. I love life insurance too. Obviously, I've made a career out of working for life insurance companies. Why do you think so many people in financial services are hesitant to really kind of embrace that mindset? I love life insurance is just something that you don't hear from a lot of people.
Yep. The answer is they were not asking the right questions. And so the way that I'll kind of unpack this is early on in working at the bank, I watched this guy by the name of Simon Sinek talk about one of the
Yeah.
most famous TED Talks ever, Start with Why. And he talks about people don't care what you do or how you do it until they know why you do what you do, and the importance of starting with why. And I really took that to heart, and I, started asking people like what they truly wanted and why they wanted it. And I had people in my office who, number one, were like, we have grandchildren older than you, Caleb, so what can you teach me at all? But which after I got through that awkwardness, I would just ask them different questions and actually listen to like why they really wanted to do what they wanted to do. And there were people that literally broke down crying to a 19, 20-year-old because they've never been asked. And some of it was regret. Some of it was like they were working a job that they hated because someone told them that this retirement thing would like, and I just that just like sat really heavy with me. And then I realized that the same financial strategies and tools could be the same things that like in bondage people, like if we don't really understand what they do and why we do certain things. And so with that paradigm of like I really want people to live their one life incredibly well, I have the one life behind me because it's like a great reminder. We have one life, live it well. And intentional living now is like the vision. It's like our vision as a company is to make intentional living the new wealth standard. And so those things have never changed from a standpoint of like it's so important to me. And so if you understand that and you really get clear about what you want, then you reverse engineer and say, okay, I want a financial assets and tools to be able to best equip me to live that one life as intentionally as possible. And when you reverse engineer that and then you say, okay, what do I want my money to start doing? I realize that life insurance is not an end all be all. It's not the thing that is going to, I say this a lot, going to solve all your problems. But if you understand it from a protection aspect, a foundational aspect, a giving your dollars more than one job aspect, I can't think of a better asset that can give my dollars more than one job. And as a foundation, I love it. And so it really, and this might sound wishy-washy, but it allows me to live more intentionally and more powerfully by having this asset in my life. And oh, by the way, every year that I fund this quote unquote protective asset, my my financial foundation increases in all these areas. So that's a long answer, but I feel like this nerdy podcast of insurance just giving you like it had nothing to do with like all the nerdy stuff that we can talk about. I know that's your world.
Yeah.
It really comes down to the philosophy of empowering you to live your one life as intentionally as possible.
Yeah, I think of myself more as a life insurance dork than a nerd because nerds are generally smart, and so I'm borderline there. So, anyways, let's fast forward to today. So you run a company called BetterWealth. What's the heartbeat of that company? What is it that you do when you work with your clients? What is it that makes you stand out versus other companies within the space?
Great question. So, first and foremost, we're most known for the way that we structure life insurance, and we own convertibleterm.com. I'm a big fan of term insurance, give you the ability to protect your family, but give you options in the future. And then we are known for overfunding or max funding insurance, primarily whole life insurance. So that's like what we're known for, and where people, believe it or not, come to us for that specialty because they maybe see a YouTube video or they've read a book or something like that. So that's a part of our business, and the most known part of our business. But we also have a tax side of the business. We also have an RAA side of the business, and we also have a coaching side of the business that hasn't fully been ramped up, and is something that I'm personally working on and what I'm most excited for going forward. So that's a whole different maybe podcast or show. But those are some of the things that are under the umbrella of the BetterWealth brand, and obviously every one of them have different names, different entities for legal reasons. And so think of all of those as like areas that we can help people live their one life as intentionally as possible. And so within that, every one of those companies has an operator, and then every one of those companies have offers, sales processes, and a marketing message. And I believe that we need to really be unemotional in how we think about business, and our businesses should um, not necessarily live or die based on if we go to work on Monday to like it should be something that is bigger than us. And so what I'm really proud of is we have an incredible team that helps us fulfill on offers, sales process, and marketing. And a lot of times people come to us and it's really simple. It's like we want to help you get clear on where you are at and how can we help you get to where you want to go. And so the process is like, where do you want to go? Let's identify that and what friction's in your way, and let's see if we can help remove that friction. And so that gives you a little bit of understanding of our structure and our process.
So, you touched on something that we're going to focus on for a good chunk of the podcast here today, and that's marketing. Uh, from what I've seen, your company does things much differently than traditional life insurance based financial professionals. So, I've been in this industry for a little over 20 years now, and the way that I've always viewed it is life insurance marketing has been monotonous. You get product brochures, you get concept brochures, you might do a webinar. In the old days, you did these big day of discoveries or lunch and learns or whatever it may be. Your company does things very, very differently. And you reach a very different audience by doing that. And so, how do you stand apart from other financial professionals that sell life insurance? And can you give a little insight in regards to how you market to consumers, how you get the word out in regards to better wealth, and the types of success metrics that you use to determine whether or not your marketing has been successful?
Yeah, great questions. You're like me. You're asking 10 questions in one. So
That's
I'll do my
correct.
best to
Yes.
unpack this. So first and foremost, a lot of people think they have a marketing problem. You actually don't have a marketing problem. You have a offer problem, and your offer is not super clear and concise and attractive. And so as a result, your sales and marketing struggle because your offer is not that attractive. So I think that's the first and foremost. And so how do we get really clear about our offer? You figure out who your ideal client is. Like if you could only serve one person, who would it be? What problem do they have? What's keeping them up at night? What's making them have anxiety? Like really figure that out. And then, well, how can you solve their problem? Not not what you know about insurance. How do you solve their problem? And if it happens to insurance happens to be part of that, awesome. But a lot of times we're speaking the wrong thing. So that's like that is in any business that I get into, I need to answer those 3 questions before we even begin. Once we begin, then it's like, okay, marketing is just an extension of creating more eyeballs to the delivery of that promise. It's hopefully marketing is getting in front of people that have problems that we can articulate how we can solve those problems. And a lot of times, instead of just saying like, "Hey, do you want to meet with me?" which is what a lot of people in our space do,
Hmm?
people can read through that and it's like not as valuable as you think. Like you doing a dinner seminar and giving a free consultation with you is not as valuable as you might think it is. Like most people in 2024, 2025 see that for what it is. They see that as a, oh, Bill's going to pitch me something. And so we have to constantly be asking the question, how can I add value to people that have this pain point? And so the biggest thing is if you can get really clear about the pain point of the people that you want to serve, create something and solve it for free. And people might be like, well, that's like proprietary information. Well, there's this thing called Chat GPT that's going to like just get over yourself. Nothing's that proprietary anymore. So it's like they're going to figure out that information regardless. And we increase trust, especially in our space. We increase trust if we can solve their problem or help them or add value or fill their cup up before we ask for anything in return. So fundamentally, most people in our space want to figure out some hack. They want to be like, what should I post on LinkedIn? Or should I start a podcast? Or should I write a book? And should I start a YouTube channel? All the things that I have done in the past. And I think the real question should be is like, how can I add value to the people that I want to serve? And when you can answer that, then do it. And you will start attracting people that are attracted to you. So that's like the first thing is like figure out a way that you can best add value. It could be a message, it could be a free gift, it could be one of those things. And then the question will be is if you have something that's very valuable, like if I have like for example, if you allow and if people want to reach out to me, we can figure out a way. Like we have so many checklists, we have so much resources that I can give to the financial professional that wants to take their business to the next level. I will give it to you for free, knowing that some people may want to be attracted to learning more about that side of the business. But for me, it's like, why wouldn't I want to help and serve? And I know that that's such an attractive offer. So that's number one is like figuring out how I can add value. And then number two is figuring out where are those people hanging out? What podcasts are they listening to? What YouTube channels are they already watching? What media are they listening to? What books are they listening to? Where's their attention? Are they on LinkedIn? And then marketing is just a hi, I like get your message out there, but not just saying, "Hey, you want to meet with me?" or "Let me read a boring ad that everyone tunes out." It's the, "Hey, I'm speaking directly to your pain point and here's something that I can solve for free. And oh, by the way, like part of me better being able to solve you is having a meeting." You see how you can like I'm not anti-meeting. We love calls. We love
Yeah.
meetings. But it's like it's bundled in and it's not just being like it's not pretending like I'm the most valuable person in the world and I'm going to solve all your problems if you get on a call with me. So that's like marketing. And then so we're constantly asking the question, how can we add as much value as possible? So whether you're running ads, whether you're posting on LinkedIn, whether you're using YouTube videos, whether you're on podcasts, whether you're speaking, who's your audience, what pain point that they have, how do you best serve? Right now, I'm talking to other financial professionals. So and we did not even script any of this, but it's like whatever I can do to help the financial professional be more effective, I'm in because that's the audience that's going to be watching this. If I was speaking to doctors or someone else, I would not be talking about the side of our business that helps financial professionals with their marketing or their business because it's not relevant. And so I'll let you ask a follow-up question because that's the first part, and then I can share with you what we're actually doing. But it's very important that I actually give you the why behind that because a lot of people say post on YouTube, and majority of people watching this probably shouldn't start a YouTube channel, even though that's like one of the best things that we've done. And that might sound hypocritical, but it's like not because you have to figure out what your medium is. and not everyone should be on YouTube. It just happens to be the medium that has served our business super well. So I'll let you ask a follow-up question
Yeah,
if you want, but we can
I,
dive
I
into that.
I do have a follow up question, and in fact, you've already kind of teased it a bit. So you and I were at an event earlier this year, and we had, even though it was only a 3 minute long conversation, it was very impactful for me because we were talking about marketing and kind of social media and how you're getting your message out there. And you definitely mentioned YouTube and the impact that it has on your business. And then I went and kind of looked at some of the statistics in regards to how many subscribers you have on your channel, how many views you have on your video. And I was thinking, wow, this is amazing as far as just raw metrics go. But I think that there are a lot of financial professionals out there. They have great pieces. Either they're great at marketing, they're great at the technical elements, they're great at closing, but sometimes they're just not able to do all three, which you really have to have for financial professionals to be able to get in front of clients, meet clients, and meet the client's needs. And that gets into the how you're doing it at Better Wealth and how it's different than kind of
Yep.
traditional financial planners.
It's Who Not How. That's the book that if you've not read, it's by Dan Sullivan. Who Not How. And if you are really uniquely good at something, just keep doing that thing and find other people that help you solve it. So I know you probably want to hear like how do you launch a YouTube channel or how do you Google it. You'll get a lot better answers than what I can say right
Yeah.
now. But if you look at me, the wonder kid in the life insurance space, I know nothing about YouTube. We have 3 or 4 people on our team that that's all they focus on. We have a in-state producer, and then we have video editors all over that report to our video producer, and I find people and I figure out subjects with the help of the team that we should make videos around. I show up, I run my mouth, and then I expect and then I empowered other people on our team to then run with that. And so like I think the biggest thing is I'm not afraid to invest in people in our business. And I think that is one thing that, a lot of people for example, I have a side business that helps people in the business, financial professionals, help them with their marketing and their business and their website and all. And it always amazes me how we want all these things, but we're not willing to invest in the business because a lot of times we don't necessarily see ourselves as actual businesses. We see ourselves as maybe athletes or like because again, a lot of the space like they reward you. They reward you, and that I'm not opposed to that. It's great, but it's like you could be rewarded. So you kind of see yourself as the athlete, or you could think about like think of yourself as a business. And part of that is being willing to invest in education and in people to be able to help with that. So there's some people that are watching this that can do it all. That's amazing. That's not me. It's figuring out what am I uniquely good at? What do I uniquely love doing? What are the things that we need to do? So it's like YouTube is a format that I really like. I can tell you why in a second, but I just love it. But I know that if I had to edit a video, we would have 0 videos.
Hmm.
So instead of me trying to figure out how to edit a video, we figured out who can I attract that can take care of this, and we're still learning. So that's the format of how we went about writing a book, how we started a podcast, the website, like the I will take responsibility if things don't go well because I'm the leader of the company. But at the end of the day, there's other people behind the scenes that are doing things. I'm not this kid that walks on water that knows all the stuff. That's like I just want to be really clear about that. But I am willing to live below my means and invest in people and in systems and in operations. And that's actually really smart long term because I'm actually going to make more money long term, but I need to be okay with being okay, maybe not having all the like it's just kind of like it's very clear to me. It's like I can have more but not have the infrastructure systems or invest in the infrastructure and systems, maybe have less in the short term, but like all these things are going to compound because everything compounds. good habits and bad habits compound. So that's how I would answer that. Reason why YouTube is a platform that I think people should be thoughtful about is it's connected to right now the top search engine, which is Google. YouTube is the video version of Google, and there's a lot of people that will Google things, and you'd just be amazing. YouTube is like pops up in that, and so a lot of people are just curious about learning more, and we have maybe one of the top 10 insurance channels in the world, which maybe is a stretch. I don't know, but we've gotten a lot of traction, and a certain amount of people that watch our videos work with us because they're attracted to the message, what our guests say, and they're attracted to that, and then they end up working with us. But it's very so YouTube has done amazing things to our business, but that is one element, and it's just because I would prefer to speak versus write blogs because I'm a better speaker than I am writer. So that's why we chose to do this format. But that's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a, you know, you have great content. I'm subscribed to your channel. You have multiple channels. I'm subscribed to a couple
Yep.
of them. Really great content, interesting, thoughtful conversations that you have with people. But it really makes sense because what you're talking about is kind of investing in an idea. And I think that so many financial professionals that I talk to, when they think about marketing outside of the traditional life insurance model, they don't want to go all in or even half in on that. They'll say, "Hey, I started a LinkedIn feed and I've put a couple of posts up, but I haven't gotten any traction." Like, okay, well, that's not enough. You need to be posting more frequently and targeting a certain audience, or doing the who in regards to who it is that you're trying to meet and who it is that you're
Right.
trying to plan for. Uh, you said you have 4 full-time people that are working on videos. So I mean that's a
And
major
I
investment.
should
Yeah.
correct myself. We have a full-time person, and then we have editors, and I'm not
Okay.
sure if they're full-time or not, but they're so maybe, but I actually don't know, and that just tells you the power of having amazing who's in place.
Right.
So yeah.
But I mean that's still a massive investment in regards to how you want to run your business, how you want to reach clients, and it's certainly commendable. And I think that it's been obviously incredibly successful. Speaking of clients, I wanted to ask you this question because obviously there are tens of thousands of people that see your videos. A lot of them are clients, and a lot of them, probably based on what they see in these videos, will reach out to your firm and say, "Hey, I saw this and I'm interested." How do you vet clients at that point to make sure that they are actual potential clients and that the planning that you do can help to solve their needs?
It's a great question. We're still figuring that out because we're learning. But the way that we currently do this is have people schedule a call where we ask them certain questions, and based on how they answer those questions, we know some of the best questions to be able to ask them. And then from that, you would be amazed. Some of these people have watched 2,000 hours of our content, which is insane for me. Like just hundreds of videos. And I'm just like, wow, And so like they're ready to go. Some people maybe saw me on a podcast and they're like, "Hey, I would love to learn more." And so for us, it's like it really comes down to are you need to learn more, or are you ready to like talk to somebody? And if they're ready to talk to somebody and see their own numbers, amazing. That's a process. And we have to make sure like not everyone that wants to work with us can. Some people are attracted to learning more, but they're not really ready. And so this is really key, instead of us spending multiple meetings trying to explain something, why would I repeat something that I've already said? So here's context, and then talk to us when you're ready to move forward, if you still want to move forward after watching these videos. So those are very much of like, we don't have a like, if someone wants to get insurance, and even if we're getting term insurance for them, that's important for us. I know that there's many people watching that have like a certain type of client that they want to work with. Great. Like it actually marketing probably even easier for you because you can be even more niche.
Right.
For us, like I love the fact that someone's getting term insurance that's convertible. I love the fact that their family's protected and they give increase their optionality in the future. I love that. And so we have a system in place where we can say yes to people like that and it's not a drag on the business.
So, speaking of learning, same subject matter here, clients reaching out to you. Do you have any stories, either good or bad, in regards to where clients saw one of your videos, reached out to you or your company, and either just it went horribly wrong or it was just a fantastic experience for everybody involved, and you were really able to implement the planning that a client needed? A couple of examples would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of examples recently are clients that are literally coming and they're insuring 3 generations, themselves,
Wow.
their kids, and their grandchildren. And that came out of the concept of the Rockefeller method, but it's like just like looking at case studies like Rockefeller family and saying like, okay, how did this family do it? And then like that concept gets people thinking, and they're like, hey, I'm not as wealthy as a Rockefeller family, but could I do something like this?
Right.
And then like just I love kid policies. I love when when parents insure their kids. There's something about that that's just like really neat. And so you get that, and then you get the person also who's like an engineer, super analytical,
Oh yeah.
and peppering you with questions. But it's great because we're very transparent on our page on what we do, and so some people really want to dive in, and then the call, and then there's people because we're out there that are working with multiple people. Like they're talking to multiple people. And some people get rubbed the wrong way. They're like, well, you should choose me. And it's like, actually, choose the person that you feel most comfortable working with. And that's kind of the abundant nature of our space. Like people ask me all the time, like, why do I literally have a business helping people in our business? Like,
Right.
am I creating my own competition? And it's like, yes, if we're thinking that small, I guess I am. But I think there's a lot more people that need our help. We are it's embarrassing how many people are underinsured or not insured at all. There's a lot of work to do. And actually, we all benefit when we get the message out because we need to grow the pie. And so I love the fact that people are hearing about us, even if they work with other people, other colleagues in our space. Awesome, as long as they're getting set up and their families being served well, like that's incredible.
Yeah, there's no doubt that our business, as far as the actual number of people selling our products, is not sufficient for all the needs that are out there. I mean, you just look at the raw data, and so much of the United States is, as you said, either underinsured or they just don't have any insurance at all. And a lot of that is just because they don't understand how life insurance could fit within their financial plan. In other cases, they just haven't been exposed to it at all because they're not working with any financial professional or nobody's reached out to them. You have the same financial professionals, they all might be working to try to get that centimillionaire that's looking to do estate planning, but there's just so many other needs out there, either working with small business owners or people looking to use life insurance as a supplemental retirement vehicle. And I think you're exactly right that kind of helping to build up that financial professional community so that there are more people to meet those needs is ultimately a good thing for the industry. As you said, we're growing the pie, and that benefits all of us.
Yep. Couldn't couldn't have said that better. Yep.
All right. So one last podcast related question. So earlier this year, you had our CEO Dave O'Malley on your show. It was a great interview. I watched it twice. That's how much I enjoyed it. And I went through your channel. You've had a bunch of other life insurance related luminaries, whether they're heads of companies or other people within the industry. I know you just recently had on Bobby Samuelson. We had him on our podcast a couple of months ago. He's a good friend of mine, somebody that I've known for a long time. What does it mean to you to have kind of these leaders of life insurance companies come onto your podcast and share what it is that they're doing on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, number one, it's such an honor, and it's why I just have so much gratitude as I think of the kid who really knew nothing 7, 8 years ago in the space, and now I get to call a lot of these people friends. It's like really special, and I know that it's very motivating as well to continue to go. And I know that just like in the insurance space, there's a lot of other spaces that we can grow into. And so I think that's just number one, it's gratitude. But then the second thing is a lot of times we feel like we need to be smart to have Dave O'Malley on our show or Bobby Samuelson on our show. And the answer is no, we just have to be humble enough to ask questions and connect and be of value to those people. And then the other thing that I'll just say is you might be watching this and it might be super overwhelming. And just remember, like, I was 21 years old when we started this podcast deal. And I interviewed people that I had no business interviewing, but they were kind enough to say yes. And they have a part of my story. And I actually get more emotional thinking about the people that said yes to me when I had nothing, when I was nobody. That I'm just grateful for that. And so I think it's just a beautiful thing of like how giving our profession is. That's like, and then like how many amazing individuals that need their story to be better highlighted. And then the work that we still have to do. I think we have a lot of work to do. The fact that our small channel is maybe in the top 10 is a problem. It should not be. And that just tells you that we need to do a better job as a profession and as an industry to all grow together. And so that's the thing that I'm committed to. I know that Penn Mutual's committed to that. And I'm just, again, it's an honor to be part of this journey and a part of this process. But yeah, I don't know how else to answer that question other than it's just I'm very grateful to be a part of the process.
Do you have a white whale that you would love to have on the podcast at some
Yeah,
point?
Dave Ramsey. I would love to interview Dave Ramsey. It will happen. I know it, and I have so much respect for what he has built and how he has gone about building his company, his convictions. And I think again, he's one of these people that are super passionate. So he'll say things really passionately like whole life insurance is a scam and like don't do this and like all debt is bad debt. And I actually think like he's helped way more people with that message. I know that's crazy for me to say it on this podcast, but what I would love is to be able to have a long form sit down conversation where we can talk about different things. And it's not just like the soundbite on a call, but it's like we can sit across, we will agree to disagree. There's nothing that I'm going to change his mind on, but it would just be an honor to be able to have that dialogue. And I have a ton of respect. And I also have things that I think I can articulate in a way that maybe he's never heard before. Maybe. But more importantly, I think the conversation can elevate the just elevate financial IQ for people. So all that to say, that would be a dream interview, and I think it's going to happen. I live in Nashville. Dave lives in this area, and I subscribe to the channel and support us because the bigger our channel gets, the more likely he'll say yes to it.
All right. Well, I would love to be a fly on the wall for that interview, but I'll watch on YouTube whenever it pops up there. That's going to be a great conversation. So I'd be remiss if I didn't have you on the podcast here today and talk a little bit about the company that I work for, Penn Mutual. I was telling you before we started recording here today that I watched a number of the videos on your channel that specifically discussed Penn Mutual's products and what we do. And I thought everything was obviously very fair, but this is a Penn Mutual podcast and would love to hear some unfiltered direct thoughts about the company, what you like, what we could be doing better, and so forth.
Here's what I'd say is I love people. I love people. What I love about Penn Mutual is they empower amazing people to do their job well. And in some, I got to be very careful what I say, but in some corporations, there's a lot of bureaucracy. There's just
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, like just a lot, like it's almost like the hey, we exist to keep our job kind of deal. I'm going to do everything I can to protect my job. And what I love about Penn Mutual is I've never experienced that. And the people are like very clear about like we're a mutual company and we are going to use resources and technology and we're going to innovate even though not every mutual company innovative is not in their core values clearly in some of the decisions that they make. And so I really appreciate that. And I love the fact that like a lot of companies say like they tote the mutual conversation, and I really believe that you guys are living it. And you're also very transparent, and you like even this podcast is a perfect example. There may be another mutual company out there that has a podcast on YouTube. I'm not aware of it. And so the fact that you guys are willing to do this is just a sign of your commitment to uh to the message and to what you stand for. So a lot of other things I can say, from like how you guys are using technology to all, but overall the people are a reflection of the values of a company. And um I would be proud to have anyone, any one of our clients, any one of our team interact with anyone at Penn Mutual, and I know that it's going to be a great experience.
Terrific. Well, that's a great endorsement. Love hearing it, and couldn't agree more. It is a great place to be, and bureaucracy is definitely not something that we do at Penn Mutual. And we know that financial professionals like yourself are our clients, because there's not a piece of Penn Mutual business that's sold without you recommending it to your clients. So certainly appreciate the kind words about our company. But we do like to end with a fun question or two here, just to give a little flavor about who you are as a person. Now, just became a new dad.
Yep.
You're obviously incredibly busy with work. What is it that you do for fun in Nashville? I mean, I love Nashville. It's one of my favorite cities, but
Yep.
there's so many fun things to do. What are some of your favorites?
I love pickleball. I'm obsessed with pickleball, and I don't play it nearly as much. So I need to play that more. I'm a poor golfer, but I have time to improve, hopefully. So love golf, and I love spending time with people. We have My wife and I have a house with multiple bedrooms with our baby girl, and we just pride ourselves by connecting with people, and so and try to break bread with as many people as possible. So I love that. And then I love business. I know that's like a cliche, hopefully not cop out answer, but I just love the art of making people's lives better by providing more value through either services or products. And that's very much motivating me to like continue to grow and innovate, because it's the world is better when small business owners can be able to be empowered to do that. So those are some of the things that I very much enjoy. I love being a dad. I would take any advice from any of the listeners. If you have certain things that you wish you would have known, or things advice that you were given that was really valuable, please put that. I don't think they can comment on this, but reach out to me, and maybe my email will be in the description. But reach out to me, because I want to be as intentional as a dad as possible.
All of our listeners can email parenting advice to lifematters@pennmutual.com. Again, that's lifematters@pennmutual.com. The one piece of advice I will give you, my kids are old now. In fact, I have a son that's actually older than you are, I think. But uh, learn to really enjoy and relish as much sleep as you can. Is what I would suggest, because
I
uh,
love it.
yeah, you can really, especially as you start adding more to the litter, you can absolutely get overwhelmed on that, and forget to take care of yourself. I've seen it with a lot of my friends, and if you can take a nap here and there, do it. That would be my suggestion to you. Also on pickleball, I haven't played, but I tend to think that I would probably be pretty good at it. I used to be a pretty decent tennis player, and I'm tall, and so I think I have a reach. My knees no longer allow for tennis because I've shattered both of them on multiple occasions. But I think pickleball could be something that I could get into. So I got to start trying that here.
Well, next time we hang out, let's play. And I think you have a bright future. If you already have the racket finesse, I think pickleball you'll pick up pretty easily.
Okay, awesome. Uh, Last thing, how can people learn more about you and your company?
Yeah. So the way that you can learn more is by going to our YouTube channel. And if you type in Better Wealth on YouTube, our YouTube channel will pop up. Or if you type in and asset on YouTube, our other life insurance channel will pop up, so you can follow that. And then the best way, if you have questions or if you want resources, if you email me at caleb@betterwealth.com, I'd be more than happy to send you anything that could be of value to helping you on your financial journey or your business journey. And so that's the best way. And hopefully we can connect and at future events.
All right, terrific. Well, Caleb, this was a great conversation. Thank you so much for taking time out of your super, super, super busy schedule. I think we're going to have some reciprocity where I'm going to be on one of your podcasts here at some point here in the near future. So I look forward to that. But for now, thanks so much for joining us, and have a great day.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bill.
All right. Well, wow, that was a great conversation. I certainly learned quite a bit, and I hope you did too. One takeaway that I think we should all have from that discussion is really understanding the why of what you're doing, whether it's marketing or anything else in our careers. I think Caleb really kind of laid it down in regards to the why he and his company are doing the things that they're doing. And I hope that you take away that, hey, we really have to discover the why before we endeavor on anything, whether it's a YouTube channel, whether it's LinkedIn content, whether it's a new way to approach clients. The why is so important. One of the things that we've been doing every single podcast is that we have been reminding our listeners how many days we have until the sunset of some of the important provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 actually occurs. And as of the date of publication of this podcast, we have 405 days. Now that sounds like a lot, but it's not. And in fact, if you get through the holidays, you get through the first of the year, now all of a sudden you're in the 300s. So 405 is the number as of the date of the publication. It's easy to remember because if you've ever been in Southern California and you've driven on the 405 freeway, you know that's a miserable experience. And if your clients miss out on this opportunity to take advantage of, say, the increased transfer tax exemption, that could be a miserable experience as well. So 405 as of the date of publication of this particular podcast. I mentioned it during our interview, but if you have questions for Caleb or baby tips, you can send them to lifematters@pennmutual.com. In fact, if you have any questions for me or anybody else associated with the show, that's the best way to reach us. That's a special mailbox that I only have access to, and I do answer every question that we do receive in that mailbox. Again, that's lifematters@pennmutual.com. If you haven't subscribed to the show already, please do so. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. This is now on YouTube. So whatever you're using to consume podcasts, make sure you subscribe. I've seen the metrics in regards to how many listeners we have. We have a lot, and I'm really proud of that, but we need more subscribers. We need more ways to make sure that our listeners are not missing new episodes of the show. Best way to do that is to subscribe. Again, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever way you consume podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the show or the channel. Last thing, if you are subscribed on Apple Podcasts, drop by and leave us a 5-star review on the show page. It helps boost visibility of the show. In fact, if you have a few seconds, write us a little review in there, just telling people how much you enjoy the show, how much you enjoy the content. If you do, I will be your best friend. So with that, for Caleb Guilliams, I'm Bill Bell. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.